crypto lifestyle, baby. Crypto lifestyle, baby. The layer 2 NFT infrastructure to decentralize the e-commerce supply chain. That's correct. In today's show, we will be sitting down with Cyrus, CEO of SPLYT, who has become an overnight celebrity in this industry due to the ShopX token rocketing at launch to over 100x in gains. And in turn, he has been given the nickname Lord Cyrus. Well, at least that's what I like to call him. But in this interview, we will be putting price aside and focusing more on the actual product and infrastructure SPLYT is providing to the e-commerce industry while utilizing NFT and blockchain tech. Lord Cyrus, welcome to the program. And I think this interview is well overdue, broski. So I'm really glad we finally made it happen.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for having me, man. And I gotta say, I love the intro. On point.
Thank you so much.
Fire.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, my pleasure, man. You know, quality projects like yourself, that's the least I could do. So Cyrus, if you don't mind, just allow me a moment. You know, at the start of these live interviews, I do like to say hello to our audience. As you know, we are broadcasting live here on YouTube. So just give me one moment to just give them a what's up and a hello. All right, cool. So we got Mo's here. JG is also here. Robbie Digital is here as well. Chat's going bonkers. Nate McBride already dropping super chats. Cube is here. KT, everybody is here. Yeah, they all want to know what, exactly is SPLYT really, they know of it, but they don't really know so much of the product and the actual infrastructure. And we're going to get into all of that, Cyrus. Cyrus, speaking of your pre-sale, if you don't mind me, just talking about this before we get started, a lot of people wanted to get in and all these things. And I found it so funny. I knew this one lady, Oksana. She told me she messaged you on Facebook, dude. Like, how did she get a hold of you on Facebook? You know what I mean? People were going crazy for this, and we could see why. You had a really good launch and successful launch from the token standpoint. So yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, thanks, man. Really surreal. Grateful for the community. Grateful for people like yourself. The token and blockchain and all that kind of stuff is really awesome. But like I said, it's those friendships you make in this industry that just makes it so special. And Oksana, what's up? She did message me on Facebook.
That's so funny. Dude, I don't know how she got a hold of your Facebook. When she told me that, I couldn't stop laughing for like 2 hours straight, man. It was ridiculous.
She's good people. I'm big in e-commerce too. So yeah, I'm really happy we met.
Good stuff. Oh, so you remember her?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, right. Look at
She's
you,
pretty
eh?
active in our chat too.
Yeah, yeah. The celebrity that you are, you still remember individual names. That's awesome, man. That's what I like you, man. I always told my audience and my community, you're a really cool guy who spoke a couple times, and this is well overdue. You're more than welcome to come onto the show again. So let's get started, Cyrus. So let's get right to it. We would love to know a bit more about yourself. Your background and what really brought you into the blockchain space. So yeah, pretty much what is your professional background and how did you transition into the blockchain space?
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up on the East Coast in Princeton, Jersey. So I'm an East Coast guy. Moved to the West Coast for school. I went to UC Irvine for my grad and undergrad, econ, computer science minor, and my MBA, which I dropped out for to work on SPLYT. But my career started in e-commerce tech with Deloitte Consulting. So I did that for about 4 or 5 years. Helping Fortune 500 companies come up with their strategy and implementation for e-commerce technologies. That's kind of where I got the idea for SPLYT in the first place. And then around 2014, got into Bitcoin, but really wasn't deep into the blockchain ecosystem until 2016. I got introduced to Ethereum, read the Bitcoin white paper. And the thing that drew me to it was, a technology that focused on individuals and creating a holistic system rather than something that just benefited certain individuals or people of power. And that kind of boils my blood. And this is why I got into the blockchain space the way I did is it frustrates me when somebody of power, exploits little people or people who are not as fortunate or whatever. And, I've had a fortunate career. I love to give back. I've gotten my coaching license. I do pro bono coaching, especially for younger kids trying to shape their life and figure out what they want to do in their careers. And, I've had the privilege of having such a great career, but I don't take advantage of people. Can I charge for stuff like that? Sure. But, part of life is also giving back. And I feel like that's what the blockchain community and ethos is all about. It's giving back to everyday people and organizing our society in such a way that everybody could live in abundance. So I went deep down the rabbit hole in 2016. And I'm here now. So happy to be part of this community and happy to be, a role model for really shaping the future minds of our society.
Love it, man. Love it. I think blockchain could, offer so much things to people in third world countries or resources that they didn't have before. Going back to what you're saying. There's a lot of transfer of wealth happening here, but there's also, the bigger picture is like what you said, what you alluded to, helping others. And that's what happens when you remove the middleman, right? There's so much more opportunities there and people could be a heck of a lot more prosperous. And going back to what you just said there, how you dropped out to work on SPLYT, that kind of reminds me of, what's his name there, Vitalik. He dropped out of university to work on Ethereum. And he actually, his University of Guelph, that's right down, is it Guelph he went to? Yeah, he went to Guelph. That's like about 25 minutes away from me. And the funny thing about that is I always say this, every single year he goes back to the same university he dropped out of to talk about Ethereum. so as a speaker, right? So that's pretty crazy. But no, right on, man. You're obviously building. Awesome. Yeah, you're building something, spectacular here, and it's well worth it, right? So, and you're seizing the moment right now, and so let's get into what exactly you dropped out of to start. So, could you summarize what SPLYT is for someone, and obviously, in a nutshell, because we're going to get into more finer details about it shortly.
Yeah. So, you mentioned this before. It's a new e-commerce system where we're decentralizing the whole e-commerce supply chain, removing middlemen from different parts of the wholesale model to make it fair for anybody to transact online. And what that really means is we're creating a peer-to-peer e-commerce system, but that's safe and secure, that you don't have people defrauding each other using ShopX as a protocol and NFTs. We could remove middlemen, however, still keeping the safeguards so people could transact securely online and, keep the money in their pockets. Right now in our systems today, it's so opaque, and you have these centralized platforms such as Amazon, Alibaba, even Facebook and Google that, just put their hand on every transaction just because they can. And we really need to move away from this like Web 2 data silo to Web 3. And that's what SPLYT's doing. It's hope for a better future e-commerce that everybody could participate and make a healthy living in.
Don't get me started on Amazon right now, Cyrus. Don't get me started on Amazon, man. I sold on Amazon. The first dollar I made was on Amazon in 2014. And yeah,
Nice.
just when things start to take off, though, sorry about that. Just when things start to take off, though, I was selling about 40 units a day, 50, 60. I got a patent. But what made it worse was this. Amazon patented the product. So not only are they making money off of the fees, off of the listing, off of all of these things, right, the product, they also wanted to make their own version of it. And who's going to go buy, you know, my product or their product? If they got Amazon on it, obviously people are going to go buy it from Amazon. So it's that sort of like predatory sort of like, you know, mentality they have. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying there, man. So I hope you guys can pull it through, which I'm confident in.
Yeah, that's a conflict of interest. I mean, you brought up a good point that Amazon is the outlet that you use, but they're also mining all of your data to determine what type of products to build to come and cut you out. I mean, if that's not conflict of interest, I don't know what is, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, if somebody's selling a skipping rope and it starts to do well, they will like literally manufacture the same one and just put their logo on it. So I totally agree with you. You know, Cyrus, you did mention NFTs, but I believe now what split the type of NFT you're talking about, you guys dubbed it an eNFT, right? It's not like the regular, you know, it has like a, you know, maybe some artwork on it or something like that. Could you just tell us a little bit more on what an eNFT is, please?
Yeah, so you know, NFTs are NFTs, but then you have a 721, which is more on the collectible space or unique identifier, 1155, which brings a little more flexibility into like a quantity amount, or if you transact, you could, if you transact that NFT, the original owner could, you know, get some sort of royalty on every transaction. So think of it, eNFT as just another protocol standard like the 721 or 1155. We're working with Polkadot to make this a standard on Polkadot so others could also use this eNFT technology. And what essentially is an NFT that's been optimized for e-commerce transactions that has point of sale data on chain. And this lets us do a lot of things in that peer-to-peer e-commerce system that we want to create that's fair, transparent, and secure by using escrow deposits, quantities, like I said, all sales transactional data on chain on that eNFT. And then, you know, just for gas optimizations, we created this, you know, dual NFT system where we have like, you know, a master NFT and an order NFT, which is essentially the NFT of the product that you're buying. And the system just makes it, you know, very optimized and efficient for e-commerce transactions. And that NFT does a lot of things. It creates proof of ownership of authenticity of the products you purchase. That NFT could also be used as a unique identifier and tracking for, like, let's say, a blockchain SKU. So when you're selling a product online, it only exists in one location. It exists in every location, but if it sells, it automatically delists everything. So you get this kind of like real-time inventory. So, you know, the eNFT has been made specifically for e-commerce transactions. And, you know, we built it in such a way that's open source protocol that we want everybody to be able to use, not just, you know, like not just us at Split, but others who want to build e-commerce applications on the blockchain could use Split's eNFT to create this, you know, universal standard of how to transact online. It's really exciting stuff.
Gotcha. So let's just say, for example, I want to sell, you know, whatever, this mic or something, right? Using Split's infrastructure there, right? And I integrated into, I believe you guys are integrated into Shopify, which we'll get to later down the road here, two questions later. But is it something really that's going to be representing that product on the blockchain? That's what the eNFT is. So in my example, it would be an eNFT of this mic that represents ownership of that actual item. Is that correct or no?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, we look at it as, you know, there's a phased approach to this, right? Obviously, you know, tokenizing an asset like your mic on chain as an eNFT, it's a step in the right direction. But you could always swap out that mic for another mic or for another product, but it's no worse than how we're operating today. In fact, it's a little better because you have the traceability and the impervious nature of data on blockchain that makes it, you know, really exciting to, you know, see how this could go forward. But that excitement is just starting because over time, we're working with people that have not just RFID and NFC, those things have been out for a while,
Yeah.
but working with manufacturers to add even like a specific type of ink into a fabric. So it's invisible ink and fabric that you can't see, but your phone, or like if you use your camera, it'll be able to scan it. And you'll be able to tell who owns that item based on the public address that NFT is assigned to. That way you have a secure way. That will take some time, but we're on that path right now. And like I said, if you have a Rolex watch and you purchase it, you get a little piece of paper saying that that's your authentic Rolex watch. But the piece of paper could be fake. The paper could get lost. The Rolex could be fake or whatever. So, using SPLYT technology and their eNFTs, when we tokenize that Rolex, at least you have that on-chain data that sticks with that Rolex. Yeah, people could kind of swap out that Rolex today, but like I said, it's no worse than today. It's a little bit better, and we're working with some partners, to make that bridge between having a product and it being connected to an eNFT on-chain. So over the next few years, it's going to be really exciting times for how we kind of move away from this fraudulent e-commerce system that we're operating in today.
Yeah, no, I could see the passion in your face, and when you speak, man, I love to see that when a CEO is talking about his product. It means it's his baby, man. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. And by the way, Cyrus, I have to say this, brother. So sorry, I have to say this. I was talking to my sister last night, and she was asking me about SPLYT, and she's like, "Oh my God, that CEO, he's hot." I just had to say it. I told her I was going to tell you. I told her I was going to try to embarrass you. So there we go. Yeah. Moving on. So you did briefly touch up on the actual eNFT and the protocol, how it works. But could you, do you mind just, let me see if I can share this here. I'll kind of show this diagram. And I know you did kind of go over it here. The eNFT minting, the eNFT broadcast, the escrow, and the actual buyer resale. Do you mind just talking about that?
Yeah, for sure. So, in order for you to tokenize an asset as an NFT, you need a mechanism to do so, and SPLYT just makes that super easy for any seller. And you mentioned Shopify, so our UI and our go-to-market wasn't to have people to leave what they're accustomed to work and then moving on to the SPLYT platform. We're like, let's take SPLYT to where people are operating today to kind of get that adoption going, which we really haven't seen from any blockchain product quite yet. Maybe a one or two out there, but not really. And I'm talking about for the critical masses. All of us, DeFi crazies out there, yield farming and stuff. Obviously, there's really cool protocols out there, but how do we get 99% of the population to start using blockchain? So what we did was build the UI within Shopify. We're building it for WooCommerce and other places that most sellers are accustomed to. And with a push of a button, we help them take their assets that's been on their Shopify, all their inventory items, and with the push of a button, they could tokenize it as an eNFT on the blockchain. So we provide that service to mint eNFTs through our clients. And the way we built our clients, again, we're a nonprofit open source, so we just built one client, like Ethereum built Geth, but then Parity built a client, and there was other OpenETH and other clients that were built on top of Ethereum. We're also doing the same. We're letting others come build their own clients, so we get that true decentralized nature within SPLYT. So when you mint an eNFT, that eNFT then gets broadcasted to every other affiliate store within the SPLYT network. What that means for a seller is that if I actually just had my Shopify store, I could only sell to my Shopify users through my Shopify store. But with the power of decentralized inventory using the SPLYT and the eNFT network, when we mint this eNFT, it shows up in every other affiliate store. Every other Shopify store will have access to that eNFT and that inventory it represents. So when with another Shopify store, they're like, oh, cool, I really like this, let's say, water bottle, right? And there's a bounty attached to it. So the seller could assign a bounty. So a seller is in control of their CAC. Now,
sorry, Cyrus, when you say bounty, what do you mean exactly by that?
Yeah. So okay. So I'm a seller. I want to sell this item as fast as possible, right? So I want to list it in multiple locations. The way I do it today is I go to Amazon, I go to eBay, I go to Craigslist, I list it on my own store. That costs time and money to list it in 4 or 5 different places all at once, right? And what happens if it sells on 2 locations at the same time? I have something that we call a double sell, kind of like how you happen with a double spend with Bitcoin and how that solves that. So by assigning an eNFT to all of these, that the double spend is prevented. So, people cannot buy from 2 locations. But what is incentivizing someone to sell that product for me, right? So I send a bounty or a commission to each eNFT, which is in e-commerce terms, we call it a CAC, a customer acquisition cost. So customer acquisition costs are variables. It's based on how much marketing money I put into Facebook or Google and what my conversion rates are when traffic comes to my site. That's really unpredictable for sellers. And they've been at a disadvantage because of centralized advertising brokers like Google or Facebook. But with SPLYT's network and ecosystem, the seller could say, hey, I want to give 15 or 20% to anybody that could find me a buyer and sell this product for me. And that's what the bounty is attached to each eNFT. So when an affiliate sees this and they're like, oh, I can make 20% commission if I sell this product. So let me go add this product to my store. And our system makes it super simple to take an eNFT and then put it into your store and showcase all the metadata, like the description, the pictures, or whatever it is. They find the buyer makes a purchase, the original seller drop ships it to the buyer. And since the eNFT is the escrow of funds, right? All of the funds are held on chain and then dispersed to the affiliate and to the seller in a secure and fair and transparent way. So like affiliates don't get screwed over. So like in affiliate marketing, when I send traffic from my site to your site, I don't know if the transaction was made, right? I have to trust you. There's counterparty risk in that type of relationship. But in SPLYT, since all of the attributions are tracked at the eNFT level, that eNFT knows if the transaction was made and what affiliate who made that transaction or made that sale. So we could get 100% accuracy in paying out all affiliates, which is a big game changer. And then the last feature we have is that eNFT gets it's able to be traced throughout the whole life cycle of a product post sale. So like, let's say if Nike is selling shoes, some Jordans, and they see that that Jordan got transferred 3 or 4 times in the aftermarket, they have that business intelligence with that eNFT to be able to take that data and make better decisions for building future Jordans. And for a buyer, if I get that eNFT, I just could push one button, and if I want to resell it, it will broadcast it back to every SPLYT e-commerce store that's connected. And that makes my whole resell market pretty simple, right? I don't have to go back and find pictures. I just push a button and it relists it for me, and it incentivizes the rest of the SPLYT affiliates to sell that product for me. So it's a really, really tightly integrated e-commerce system that's fair and transparent, that lets everybody make a healthy living, and it's really democratizing the wealth, right? Everybody could live in abundance if e-commerce was decentralized, and that's what we're doing.
Well, you just nailed it right there. I was not about to say, it's like everybody always wants to talk about this whole mass adoption notion and how we should go about doing it. We need banks to adopt it. We need, governments to approve it. We need Amazon. We need Amazon to accept Bitcoin. Why not just disrupt them? Why not just build something better? Why not? Why we gotta wait on them for everything and rely on them? It's like how Amazon pretty much disrupted the whole retail experience or e-commerce experience by pushing that online. It was kind of woo at the beginning. Nobody wanted to store their credit cards on this new thing called Amazon. I remember this, right? But now today, I literally know people that will buy toilet paper from Amazon. Like, it's the go-to spot, right? So what I'm saying is, it's like, so now the next forthcoming, in my humble opinion, is decentralization. Amazon is not decentralized, right? This is a known fact. So why do we got to rely on them? Let's build something great like ShopX, right? Like SPLYT here. So that's what we're doing. Cool stuff. Okay, so our first community question here, Cyrus, comes from JS, who asks, your project has done very well since your launch. In your opinion, what is the biggest barrier to entry to bring your project to the next level? Also, how do you plan to move through it? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question, JS. So I think this is an industry-wide problem. It's not specific to ShopX and SPLYT. But there's two things that come to mind. The first thing is wallet custody. Having and asking society and your grandmother, to be able to understand private keys and public keys, and owning cold wallet storage and all that kind of jazz that we talk about in the crypto industry. We need a better method to do that, and we are working with a partner. They've created 5 million wallets for one of the largest retailer in Germany, and SPLYT and ShopX will be integrated with them, hopefully here in the next 2-3 months. That's a little leak right there. That deal's not done, but that's going to give us a wallet system that I'm really excited on. I can't really tell a little much about it because they still kind of have me under wraps and not
no problem
saying too much.
We love breaking news on this.
People like that.
We love breaking news on this program though, and that's what I tell all my guests. But yeah, you gave us a little tidbit of something there, I guess.
Yeah. So
cool.
So we were really excited to pilot that, and I feel like those type of players and partnering with people that are really innovating in the wallet space is going to give SPLYT a competitive advantage, because our user base needs to be comfortable and feel safe, right? Crypto is still intimidating for most people, right? And wallets and MetaMask and everything like that. So the more we could kind of reduce those barriers of entry for like the technical requirements, and create that psychological safety for mainstream, the better it's going to be. And the second thing that's been plaguing most of the industry is gas costs and transactions per second. So gas costs, while we could talk about Ethereum's gas costs are really skyrocketing, and then we have like ETH 2.0 base fee with the EIP 1559. If you guys follow the Ethereum improvement plan, optimistic rollups, which is a method to batch settle on a layer 2 to reduce gas fees. Then you have Polkadot, which we're really excited about. That's one of the areas that we're really going to start innovating on, and do a bit on a parachain, so we could optimize our parachain for e-commerce transactions and increase that throughput. So with all of that said and coming out, you have to understand that gas is still cheaper than paying for centralized systems, right? So think about that for a second. So SPLYT. And this is why we built SPLYT as a nonprofit and open source technology to reduce that friction. So yeah, while we do have to pay gas fees, you don't have to pay a platform fee for SPLYT, right? And with that, you're still cheaper even with the gas fees of using SPLYT than using, let's say, an Amazon. It's just a different way of paying costs.
Exactly.
So from a user's perspective, we could make that really palatable, saying that, hey, you don't have to pay for SPLYT, you have to pay as you go per transaction, and it's only a fraction of what you would be paying, up to like 40, 50, 60% on a transactional basis at Amazon. So with that said, we're still looking to reduce those gas costs. And our antidote really is Polkadot and getting on this parachain movement. Really believe in sharding. I really believe in what Gavin's building. I feel like he has a chip on his shoulder coming out of Ethereum, and some of the things that he always wanted to do, now he's able to do now with Polkadot. So that's really exciting to me. And we have a path, right? So the parachain is going to take some time. We worked and raised over 400,000 DOT from our community, so we could be in line to make a parachain bid. Yeah, nice. So we're gonna be there. Like we're gonna be deploying to Rococo, testnet really soon. So there's a lot of cool stuff that SPLYT's gonna be doing and innovating in the Polkadot space. This wasn't just lip service, right? We really legitimately believe in Polkadot and what they could do. So as soon as the parachain bidding system goes live, you could expect SPLYT to be there, not in the first 10, because those are going to be a little ridiculously priced. But I'm expecting something in like the 10 to 40 range. With our $400,000 DOT, 400,000 DOT. So whatever that's worth today.
You got units, 400,000 units of DOT. Units of DOT, really? Oh, wow. Cool. That's awesome. That's quite a lot. No, good stuff. And going back to the whole gas issue there with Ethereum right now, it's true, right? But I think a lot of people are missing the bigger picture here. It's like, and it goes, you again just hit it right there when you said that how, you're actually paying a lot more in the long run or overall with centralized entities opposed to just gas, right? But to me, I think people are missing the overall picture here. The point, it's really that the fact that sure, gas on Ethereum is expensive, but it gives you the independence, it gives you the power. You're not reliant on anything. And to me, you can't put a price on that. Right? So yes, it's expensive. And by the way, we're also big, huge Polkadot supporters here as well. On the channel, we cover a lot of Polkadot projects, Web3, right? Web3 grant projects like yourself, and it goes on and on. So yeah, that's right down our alley. And you know what? I'm really rude here. I gotta just say hello to people in the live chat. So give me a second. Sure, yeah. So we got a super chat here from Scott Monroe, $50. ShopX will be fire. One of my heaviest bags. Great interview, Francis. Well, hey, it really helps. The interview, it has a lot to do with who I'm interviewing. So, you got to give Cyrus credit there as well. Vince with the $19.99 super chat. Hit the like. ShopX, another 100x early gem spotted by TCL. Thanks, Francis. No problem here. We got Harish, $77.77. I read somewhere SPLYT is a non-profit. It doesn't take money from its users. Is this true? How do you generate revenue? Yeah, that's actually, I think that is a question I have taken down. I don't know, Lord Cyrus, if you will want to answer that, the non-profit aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the same thing. Ethereum is a nonprofit, then they're doing just quite fine, right? Mozilla, Firefox, nonprofit. Linux, the most widely used servers and enterprise, nonprofit. So there are ways to build nonprofits. It's just about greed, right? And I think that's one of the things that capitalism kind of missed on. I do believe in capitalism and innovation and merit. However, making money and maximizing shareholder value shouldn't be the only thing people care about. It should be, how many community members do you have? How many people's lives have you changed? How are you saving the environment? What is your carbon emission? And all of those things. So being a nonprofit really puts the governance and what we're looking to do back on building a healthy community. That's not just good for ShopX, but it's also good for the environment. It's also good for your future generations, right? I care about that stuff. I care about more than just myself. So, how do we generate revenue? Well, we could do things such as support, maintenance, integration, consulting, education. In fact, there are some companies out there looking to hire us to come in and train them on eNFT technology and how to implement SPLYT within their ecosystem. So there are ways to make a healthy runway with SPLYT. And then you got to remember, since I don't have equity in my own company, right? It's not even my company. It's our company, right? You got to remember that this is our company. And since I don't have equity, or nobody has equity, there's no VCs that have equity in this company. That means that every decision that our community decides to make, or we decide to make, is for the best interest of token holders. Right? Not every project could say that, because if you have a project that has equity and tokens, right, and especially if you have a VC in there, the first priority is to maximize shareholder profit, to maximize that equity, like how much that market, the value of that equity is. And I just thought that to be really disingenuous for the blockchain ethos and the community. So that's the reason why we went nonprofit. And we really, everything we do, all of the value is captured at the token level. And I believe that's how every blockchain product, especially if they're a protocol, a standard, a universal standard, should all be nonprofits.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Like, again, you stand for, we share the same sentiment over here. You're talking about, spreading out the wealth, even out the playing ground. I'm the same way in regards to capitalism. Not that I'm against it, but I feel as though it's when you are earning an asset, which is the dollar, that's stable, that depreciates in a stable way. That's the problem. Right? That's the problem. And when it's inflated, that's the problem, right? Everybody goes to school to earn, pretty much it's to learn something, yes, right? Whether that's a lawyer, whether that's, a policeman, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, if your income is that fiat currency that depreciates every year, that's the biggest problem over there. So forget capitalism. It's what's going in people's pockets, right? And like, this is why I tell my audience, it's like the government, they don't own money. They own debt. They own debt. Right? And why they increase the debt is because, so like, but who, you think the government owns, like, in Canada we call it GIC, I think you guys call it a 401k. The government doesn't own that crap, right? That's worthless, right? They're owning the real assets, real estate, and all these things, like the politicians own land, right? So again, the problem for me is really the stable depreciating asset, which I'm quoting Michael Saylor. That's what he said there. That's how he describes it. So he hit it right on point right there. Okay, so we have another community question from Sexy Dutchman. Perhaps the answer to this question is somewhere in the white paper or answered before. but I would like to know how sellers will be protected against bad buyers who claim not to have received product but did get it. As for now, usually sellers getting screwed by Amazon and eBay and take the loss. That's a good question.
Yeah, sexy Dutchman. Thanks for this sexy question. Definitely a great question. So most people focus on the buyer, right? And we do have mechanisms to protect the buyer, but what about the seller, right? The sellers get screwed over too all the time. And I've been there when I sold things on eBay and people say that we didn't get it. So this is how our system works. We have something called an ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution Protocol. And it uses this really cool poker game between a buyer and seller to resolve a dispute before it gets to arbitration, because arbitration sucks. It's costly, whether if it's decentralized or centralized or whatever. We should avoid arbitration at all costs. So this is how it works. It's pretty a novel and cool idea. As a seller, if I want to sell an item, I have to collateralize it with some ShopX, the NFT and the product. And that's a good faith signal to a buyer saying that, yes, this product that I'm listing is actually what I say it is, and I will fulfill this order based on the description and that I put online, right? So there's a little bit of ShopX as collateral in the NFT escrow. That ShopX gets returned on a successful transaction. However, let's say I ship the item to a buyer and that buyer now claims they never got it. So a couple things happen. First of all, in our eNFTs, we have a API called Oracle, and it's decentralized, but there's only one data API endpoint, but whatever. We get a information feed from UPS, USPS, DHL, whatever provider it was, the logistics provider that was shipping it. So we'll be able to see and track what it is based on that information. Now, let's say that information says the item was delivered, but then the buyer is claiming it wasn't delivered, right? So now a buyer creates a dispute saying that, hey, I never got the item. The seller gets pinged and said, all right, you put in, let's say, $5 worth of ShopX into this NFT as collateral. A buyer saying they never got it. The seller has an option to make, right? They could put in another $5 of ShopX just to be like, well, no, we actually sent it. We talked to the logistics provider. We got confirmation that it was delivered. So no, we're very confident that we actually got the product to you. So sorry, we put 5 ShopX. Now the buyer gets pinged and says, hey, there's $10 in this pot. You said that there was that the seller was trying to fraud you. You never got the product or whatever. Now the buyer has an option. They could either match the seller's $10 with the ShopX, or they could concede and say, you know what, you caught me. I can move on. And now let's say they put 10 ShopX into the contract, the NFT contract, and this is all facilitated for a smart contract escrow, so we don't even need a middleman to resolve this dispute. This is why we're calling it an alternative dispute resolution. So now on chain, and we have triggers on this, so it's like you have 24 to 72 hours to respond, so it's pretty expedited. But if you're not on your computer, you're not going to miss this, right? So we're working out all of those perfect timing between the two parties to make sure it's fair. But when there's a deadlock, then there's communication channels between the seller and the buyer. They could communicate. And also there's the logistics provider. Sometimes it's because the logistics provider screwed up and there's insurance to do that for the seller. So they could resolve the dispute in that sort of game. And if they can't, and there's a deadlock after a certain period of time, then we tag into a arbitrator, right? So over time, we're going to have a decentralized arbitration system where we'll randomly pick people, kind of like jury duty here in the US, in whatever jury duty is like around the world. So random people within the ecosystem will get picked up, and it works like kind of like proof of stake miners, where you have to deposit some ShopX, and then that's a signal that you'll be picked up as a arbiter. And if you get picked up as an arbiter, you'll make some money out of that transaction. So the $20 in the pot, $5 goes to the arbiter, $15 goes to the winner. So the winner gets an extra $5 of ShopX for their time they put into it. So this is the way we could decentralize governance. We're working with some other arbitration networks that have a bigger network for us to kind of get jump started with, like Cyrus. A partnership there will be announced pretty soon. Love you guys. So yeah, that's the way we protect buyers and sellers, right? You got to remember, sellers also have to be protected. So sexy Dutchman, great question.
Yeah, no, great question. So I like that mechanism there to really see who's telling truth or not. So again, correct me if I'm wrong. Let's just touch upon that briefly. So pretty much, if there's a dispute, there's a reputation, section as well, and then there is what you call alternative
Dispute resolution.
resolution. Okay,
Resolution.
cool.
ADR.
Right. So I really like that. So you guys really took your time to think things through here and create your own sort of like protocols, right? I love that. So it's unique. It comes from the heart, and you guys really sat down and thought about this. So let me get this straight. So I sent out my mic again. The guy claims he didn't get it. Now we go into this resolution. I said, here's 10 shop X. He's like, here's 20. So we're like just anteing up until somebody says, all right, man, that's enough. That's so cool, dude. That's so cool. I like that.
Exactly.
So what happens to the overall pot then? Maybe I missed it somewhere along the way there. The overall pot, what happens?
Yeah. Okay. So no, we made it so it's not like people are putting more money into the little poker game than what the item is. So right.
Yeah.
So we're using a formula and algorithm, an inverse multiplicative function for you nerds out there.
Cool.
So like 1/x type of formula, determine what are the deposits. So again, yeah, we are very mindful. We think through a lot to make sure that we bring things out with quality. But let's say the total pot is 20. So 10 from me and 10 from the other party. And let's say we get a arbiter to come in to kind of determine who it is because we couldn't figure it out. So out of that, $5 or 25% goes to the arbiter, right? And 75% of the remaining pot goes to the winner. So if the winner put in 10 shop X, the winner will get, if we each put in 10 shop X, the winner will get 15 shop X. So the loser is essentially paying $5 for the arbiter and $5 for the inconvenience to the winning party to have them go through this resolution process.
Gotcha. Thank you for clearing that up. I really like that. Okay, I'm just going to come back to the live chat and carry on very quickly here. Renee, $7.77 super chat. Lord Cyrus and Mr. 100X, the ultimate dynamic duo. Let's go, TCL. Thank you for that super chat, Renee. We also have one from Johnny Daps, $79.99. Thank you, Johnny. Can you explain tokenizing actual stock for e-commerce businesses to use as collateral for cash flow? Is that something you saw on your website?
Yeah. That's a really good eye. That's not live yet. We're building it. It's in its infancy stages.
Cool.
But we're building the first DeFi for off-chain assets that legitimately works. And there is a couple things that so like MakerDAO, I know those guys have been looking for somebody. So, hey, MakerDAO, we're coming your way. We'll most likely be a pair. But so this is the way it works. When you do DeFi today for Bitcoin, let's say I'm using Bitcoin as collateral, it's super simple. It's a digital asset. I put in some Bitcoin. I take out like 75% DAI, using the MakerDAI example. And then, if the price of Bitcoin goes below a certain threshold, they liquidate the Bitcoin, right? Because it's easy to liquidate Bitcoin, right? There's like tons of DEXs and SEXs that you could, sell through. However, what if I tokenize my water bottle? And then let's say someone takes out a loan against my pallet of water bottles. Let's say I have millions of them. That's worth like $100,000. And that $100,000, like I take out a loan against it. But let's say that I'm not able to pay back my loan, or let's say the price of water bottles will drop. It's unlikely, but like the price of bottles will drop. How do you liquidate real life assets? You can't. Right? It's not that simple where we're like, oh, let's go sell this. It requires a lot of work, so it's not going to really work for lenders. However, this is what SPLYT differs. So we're building this decentralized e-commerce supply chain where we're able to help build this whole big affiliate network and drop shipping. We have a sales distribution channel now. So when a seller posts something, we have a ton of affiliates out there that are incentivized to pick up the item and sell it because there's that bounty or commission attached to each item. Now, what happens if we could then take these pallets of items that I created, like these water bottles and $100,000 worth of water bottles, I could take out a loan against it. And if I'm a bad lendee, meaning if I took out the loan and I'm not paying back the DeFi lenders, now how do we protect the DeFi lenders? Now what we do is since we have a sales distribution channel, since we have this SPLYT affiliate network that drop ships, we could do a flash sale. So if I have $100,000 worth of water bottles, right, and that's what the cost is to sell at MSRP, I could then sell each water bottle at like a 50 or 60% discount on a flash sale, right? And incentivize our affiliates by increasing the bounty from, let's say, 15%, which was on average for affiliate commissions. So let's say 30 or 40%, which would be really attractive to affiliates. We could help quickly liquidate all of that inventory, and all of that money, since it's on chain, goes directly back into the DeFi lender, protecting those. So, you know, our inventory, so it's basically taking out a loan against accounts receivable and inventory, that's represented on chain as an NFT. You know, we're looking at about like 30 to 40% loan to value, meaning that, like, you know, how much loan you could take versus the value. And then we're working with really cool oracles. Again, a bunch of these partnerships are going to be coming out pretty soon with all the big players, to be able to take the inventory that's in real life to make sure that the value, we get an appraisal done, right? So this value is actually what it is. You know, we're using different data sources, working with these, decentralized oracles, to be able to ensure that the price of the product is what it is at the time of the loan taken out. And then we do something that decays, you know, prices. Like you said, fiat is a depreciating asset. So, like, you know, if you know, we have to, you know, we have a formula that accounts for inflation. But like I said, all of this is still in testing. You probably see a first version later this year. But good eye, really exciting stuff, and we really want to be the first off-chain DeFi protocol project out there that just goes mainstream.
You got our support, that's for sure, Lord Cyrus. And we actually are going to take one more super chat here. But Stupid Ralph, which is his name, I'm not calling him stupid, but Stupid Ralph said, "We will retweet MakerDAO, Lord Cyrus, if you tweet it out for us." Yeah. So
yes, that will happen today.
So we got you. Okay, last super chat before we carry on here from Proof T. How you doing, Proof? $100 super chat. Cyrus, if all works out between you and sister TCL, will you be proposing for an eNFT ring? Thank you for this interview. You are the best, and we love Split. So they're talking about my sister, what she said, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
I got it.
I don't want to get you in trouble with your wife.
Fun things happen.
Yeah. Okay, let's take it from there. So Cyrus, let's talk about the ShopX token in itself, right? On the website, it does mention a term called Token Curated Registry, or TCR. I believe this has to do with the token ShopX. Can you please explain to the viewers what is the Token Curated Registry, rather, and also the use case of the ShopX token?
Yeah. So TCRs are really a really cool approach to building a database of information, and Split is a database of inventory and that data. But how do you prevent crap data from being put onto the system, right? So like in Craigslist here in the US and worldwide, it's awesome, it's free to use, but there's a lot of scam and fraudulent postings, right? And it's so annoying to have to go sift through it and be like, is this a real product or not, whatever. So we could solve that using something called the TCR. So TCR was written by Michael Goldine, I think in 2017. I read the paper, I fell in love with it. So Michael, if you're out there and listening, love you, brother, really good, really good. So I modeled it based on his research. So what the TCR system in Split does is, every time a seller mints an eNFT that represents their product to sell, they have to put a little bit of ShopX as collateral into each eNFT, right? So that is what a TCR does. It uses ShopX to curate the inventory into the ShopX registry, or what we call our global inventory catalog. And that way, each product that you see in ShopX most likely isn't going to be a fraud or scam posting, because a seller now has skin in the game that if they're caught to be a bad actor in a transaction, they will lose their ShopX deposit, right? So what does this mean for the utility of ShopX? It represents selling power for brands and sellers on the ShopX network. The more ShopX you own, the more products you could sell within our network. So as the Split GDP starts to increase, right, there's going to be more sellers that want to get on our platform, because they're like, oh my God, yeah, this is a self-distribution channel and it's free. So like, why wouldn't we want to be on Split and using ShopX, right? Yeah. So, you know, they could still work with their Amazons and eBays and wherever else they're selling. They could also integrate with ShopX. And if it sells on ShopX, it's a lower customer acquisition cost for them. So they have an incentive. And since we don't charge and we're a nonprofit, it removes that friction for getting onto our network. but it represents selling power. And if a brand or seller wants to sell more, they need more ShopX. So we played that supply and demand game.
Gotcha.
So we could see more people getting into the system. And if a seller wants to sell more, they need more ShopX. That ShopX becomes an asset of value for these sellers to have. So from that aspect, that's what ShopX does, and that's more B2B. And now on the B2C front, we got two really cool things, and both of them are a little bit. They've been kind of leaked here and there, but I'll give a little more insight today.
Sure. Please do.
So we have something called a SPLYT e-commerce city. It's kind of like SPLYT's joining the metaverse. I'll just let it out of the bag. So you could have brands create their own little ShopX stores in a virtual city, and it's going to be built on Unreal Engine. So it's going to be a little more than just kind of like shapes of like circles or squares or whatever. And buyers are going to be able to walk in and go into a store. And within that store, there's going to be an eNFT, and kind of like with Uniswap, you know how you could swap some, ETH for ShopX or vice versa. You're going to be able to swap some ShopX for a eNFT product and make purchases using that sort of mechanism. So that is a way for ShopX users, but you need ShopX to enter this metaverse, purchasing things with ShopX. And on the second hand side, we're building a BitClout for brands, so that lets ShopX users stake tokens against a brand's profile. And the earlier you get in, the less ShopX you're going to have to stake. So it's based on a bonding curve. And what that does is it gives you some API rewards up to about 30%. We'll drop this information this next week. You're hearing it here
for the first
on Crypto Lifestyle.
That's what we love.
And more of that information will be dropped in about a week or so. Cool. And what happens is you'll get exclusive discounts and rewards shopping at those specific brands. So let's say we have a few hundred brands. We already got one, Mac Park, Mickey, love you, one of the best hype retailers here in LA. Going to be one of our first, first brands using this BitClout for brand reward system that we're building. With the ShopX being staked, you'll be able to get specific, discounts, sometimes up to like 30-40% off, drops, being part of Mac Park's VIP reward system powered by ShopX. And also, you don't have to wait in line. So when there's like a new product that comes up, our ShopX users will have first right access to purchase these hype goods. And if you haven't checked out Mac Park, check them out, themacpark.com. They have really cool shit from Supreme, Yeezys, Adidas, Bear Bricks, you name it, hype fashion, they got it. It's going to be partnered with ShopX. So our ShopX token holders are going to be rewarded with some real cool shit.
Awesome. Love that. I love how you always give these thorough, detailed, replies and answers to the questions, man. Really appreciate that. There's no discrepancies in your answers, and you really explain it very, very well. So, how about this question then, Cyrus? So when will all this be live? But before you answer that, I believe SPLYT is already integrated into Shopify, one of the leaders in e-commerce space. I'm actually going to bring up a 2-minute video clip of that. And after the video is complete, you could just elaborate a bit further for us on what we're looking at here. Yeah. So let me bring that up. Sure. Pay attention, guys, in the live chat, please. Here we go.
Let's talk about SPLYT. SPLYT's as easy as just downloading the app, which is already downloaded. Now what we do is we look at our store. This is a Shopify store powered by SPLYT. And you see that SPLYT will let you acquire tokens, or you could get them yourself. So now we could upload your products to the blockchain. So I'm going to find one product here. I think my stylish summer necklace is going to sell better than anything else. I could click it. I could click multiple if I needed to. I'll click add. It'll tell me how many tokens I need to stake. So it'll deduct it. And if you auto chose that SPLYT will handle your tokens and purchase more tokens on your behalf, it will get more tokens. Now, all you got to do is click upload to the blockchain, and your product will then be available for other affiliate stores within the Shopify network to sell. So what does that mean? Let's see here. This is the SPLYT blockchain with all the available inventory. I'm going to refresh because I just uploaded this item. You see now the stylish summer necklace shows up. And the coolest part is you could go to the blockchain, and this is within a minute. This product is now available on the blockchain for every other affiliate store in the Shopify network for that stores to sell. So here's an affiliate store on Shopify. SPLYT affiliate is an affiliate store, has a bunch of inventory. My awesome summer necklace is not here. But if I go to SPLYT and I scroll down, I see, again, it wasn't there before, but if I refresh this page, since we just uploaded to blockchain and it confirmed on the block, we'll see that the summer necklace is here. So now all I got to do is click on the stylish summer necklace. I'm going to save it to my Shopify store. And now it lets me know that it's in my products list where I could make it available on my store. So I just got to go down there, and you could batch process all this, and I make it product available. And here's how easy it is for anybody to become an affiliate. If I go to the Shopify store and make it available, I refresh my page, that product is now available for my buyers to buy and be drop shipped from the original store that I created, and people could buy with crypto or fiat. Thank you for listening to Split. This is the future of e-commerce and affiliate marketing, all powered by Split, through Shopify first and through every other e-commerce platform over the next year. Thanks.
Let's go. This is the future. Before you answer that there, so it almost comes across to me as though Shopify is open source. You could build on top of it, right? It's almost like dApps on networks and blockchain, but I guess that's not the case there. So we'd love to know your reply to that, your answer, please. Oh, I think we lost your audio, Cyrus. Yeah, I think it just came off momentarily. Let me see here on your end.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's perfect. Awesome.
There we go. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, so, Shopify is not open source, but there are a couple players in the space that are open source that we're working with. However, what we saw happen in 2010 with Facebook, and if you guys all remember Zynga, they were one of the first to the Zynga store, and they just blew up. Everybody was using Zynga games and the jazz. So in Shopify, they also have an app store they opened up with a bunch of APIs and such. So, we've partnered with Shopify's app program to be able to bring a Split application, which is what we're calling the Split client, to connect to the Web3 backend that Split's creating, while users could still use Shopify with their Web2 interface that they're all familiar with. So this is the bridge, in my opinion, over the next 5 years to get people onto the blockchain.
Agreed.
Other platforms like WooCommerce and WordPress, and I know Paul's CEO. We got to make some things happen within the WordPress WooCommerce system. And then Magento, they just got bought out by Adobe, and you have other platforms like BigCommerce or whatever. Will be able to build and integrate a client that works within those systems, so that anybody that's building a store, right? So like, Mr. Beast, for instance, his store is on Shopify. There's over 1 million Shopify stores. This is the path that we get blockchain adoption. I don't have to go and get people to use Shopify to come to Split. I'm taking Split to Shopify, and over time, I do believe players like OpenBazaar, Origin, right? They built their decentralized e-commerce stack, right? So they're censorship resistant and everything like that. Over time, they will become important, but I think they're a little too soon. And what we're going to do, Split is bridging that gap.
Yes.
So right now, we work with Shopify, but at the same time, I know like Brian Hoffman from OpenBazaar, bro. Let's make an integration so all Split inventory could be on OpenBazaar and vice versa, right? So we are a nonprofit open source layer 2 protocol that works with all of the e-commerce projects out there. So this is what makes Split really unique, that everybody that's in e-commerce and blockchain could also be partnered with Split. We don't compete with anybody. In fact, we enable them to make their projects better, right? And in turn, it helps create a standardized e-commerce system that's fair, secure, transparent, all powered by blockchain and ShopX.
I love it. I really think you guys are on the forefront of this whole movement here in terms of e-commerce, adoption into crypto, right? Like, it's no secret. Sooner or later, everybody's going to have to come to the blockchain. Businesses, it's just going to happen. Like 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, whatever you believe, 5 years. And the e-commerce space, it's exactly that. Like, they're going to need to go to someone or a project or someone who does what they're doing and help them along the way. And so a seamless transition using, ShopX infrastructure and Split infrastructure. Like, we see the mass adoption today with NFTs, right? Now you have these artists, just not even crypto people, just regular artists, paint and brush and paper, are coming into the whole NFT scene. And again, it's going to become more common and more accepted and more recognized, where you're going to have to use blockchain in some way or the other. And e-commerce to me is an area that needs help in that regard. So I certainly see SPLYT being on the forefront of that, man. I'm excited. I am legitimately excited. Like when I was going through your website and your white paper, like about 2 months ago, maybe, bro, I just started to get like all giddy, and I was telling my my closest friends and everybody, I'm like, I am going to use this, So at the time, I actually was selling on Amazon. I tried something new, but it was like a side gig thing. But definitely SPLYT's giving me some more inspiration there. So Cyrus, we do have about 3 more community questions that I have here, or 4, and we'll just hit those up, and then probably after that, we'll take about 2 questions from the live chat. All right.
Let's do it.
All right, so community question here from Tony Pancake. If anyone who stakes tokens can become an arbitrator and be rewarded, how do you ensure that each claim is resolved at a certain standard and fairly? I think we went over this. Everyone's opinion will vary, so wouldn't you rather? Yeah, okay, so we'll move on to the next. Tony, thank you so much, but I think somebody asked that in the live chat. So here we got one from Mattis Walker. Users can stake tokens to become network validators. Is there a minimum to stake in order to get selected? And he has a second part to that. Top validators will be rewarded with more tokens so they can validate higher stake disputes. What's the selection criteria? And we did somewhat touch upon this, I believe. But it's up to you if you want to go into more detail.
Yeah, I'll shed a little more light. This one is a little more specific. So a network validator validates inventory. It's like the second line of defense from like fraudulent listings. And you see this that happens on like, e-commerce platforms. If you see something that's fraudulent, you could flag it, right? But then people overflag things, right? Because this happened to me. I can't believe this. So like I was selling Coachella tickets on Facebook a few years ago, before the pandemic. And I was like, you know what? Like, I can't make it. I'm going to make somebody really happy. I was selling them for $100 less than face value. They were still going a few $100 over. I was like, hey, I just don't want the headache. I want to sell it quickly and go. However, everybody that was selling Coachella tickets that were like full price or trying to like scalp for higher, they kept on flagging my thing as fraudulent. So my post kept on getting taken down because I was undercutting their prices.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like I can't believe this system is working this way. So, shame on Facebook for letting that happen. I took that to heart. I was like, man, this can't happen. I'm really like, I know I'm undercutting people, but that's because I want to make a quick sale and get this thing over with and go back to like doing other things in my life. So how a validator works is there's going to be a certain price point per product, right? So like there's products up to $100, up to $1,000, up to $10,000, depending on what you're selling. So in order to like validate a certain price range, you need to stake some ShopX tokens. We're still working on the mechanisms, but again, like if you want to like come in and say, hey, your Apple MacBook that you're posting online looks fake. You say it's a MacBook, but it's a picture of a Windows desktop, right? There's something that's wrong. It doesn't have to be like a malicious user. It could just be inaccurate information too. They'll be able to then come and say, hey, we're going to flag this. There's some ShopX tokens involved where they stake. They get resolved. They get a little bit of ShopX as a reward for cleaning up our inventory. So that's the mechanism that's going to work with our network validators, validating our eNFTs to ensure that they're clean and accurate descriptions. And then the way we're preventing it is that, because we don't want people spamming flag, you have to deposit a little ShopX. And if these validators are deemed to be a bad actor, they lose the ShopX that they've deposited. That's why we required the deposits in the first place. So again, it's aligning the incentives in this e-commerce ecosystem that we're building for decentralized e-commerce to be fair, secure, transparent, for everybody to have psychological safety to be able to hop into it and not have to worry, is this person screwing me over? Well, using blockchain and smart contract escrows, we could ensure the safety of everybody transacting on our system.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. I hope that answered your question, Mr. Walker. Guys, we will be taking also maybe 2. Do we have time, Cyrus, for 2 live questions after this?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. All right, we will be taking 2 or maybe 3 live questions, okay? So do send that to Professor in the meantime as I go over this last community question, which comes from Huss. What is SPLYT's vision beyond the roadmap? And once realized, do you intend to continually build onto the platform by adding new products, tools, strats, I think that's strategies, etc., or solidify the platform by strengthening its main USP, unique selling profit? He sounds like he's deep into e-commerce as well or something. Like he's using these terms, man.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So like Split is really unique. I have not seen anybody do what Split's doing, and I know there's a lot of decentralized e-commerce protocols on blockchain or centralized parties doing things. But what we're really doing, and I'm going to give you the grand vision, which is what he was asking in the first place. So there's a standard called TCP/IP, and TCP/IP is a standard that every computer uses to connect to the internet, and it standardizes the data packets that get sent from my computer to your computer and other people's computer, so we could have a standard way of communicating to make an efficient internet system, so we could have the internet the way it is today. Everybody in the world uses TCP/IP. I mean, there's also another protocol called UDP. I don't know who really uses it anymore. It's still out there, but TCP/IP is the most widely used protocol in the world. And what Split is doing in the grand vision is creating something called TCP eNFTs. So the transmission control protocol for e-commerce non-fungible tokens, and how that data gets shared amongst parties in the e-commerce transactions that's secure, fair, and transparent. So over the next like 10, 15, 20 years, I would love to see all of e-commerce using Split's TCP eNFT system that routes all the data, using NFTs. And in my opinion, NFTs are programmable data, right? So as cryptocurrencies are programmable money, NFTs are programmable data, specifically unique data sets, and be able to build programmable data that it says that, hey, send this data to only these people and in this way, right? That's secure using blockchain is so much better than the wild, wild west of data that we live in today. Everybody's mining your cookies and any other data it could go anywhere and you have no idea what's happening. But using eNFTs and in that transactional way, we could standardize it so it's fair, secure, transparent for anybody using an e-commerce system. So, think of Amazon, eBay, your favorite Shopify store, whatever. They could all be using Split's TCP eNFT system, and users won't even know, but that's what's powering the whole future of e-commerce. That is the vision of Split, and there needs to only be one. This is why we're a nonprofit. This is why we don't, we're not charging and we're open source. Just like TCP/IP, the power of the community to come in, and it's governed by something called the IETF, the Internet and Engineering Task Force. So you get like all the big players around the world from the big companies, internet companies, get together, and it's not a nonprofit, but it's a community that does it. But in the blockchain ecosystem and ethos, ours is nonprofit, decentralized governance, using quadratic voting to make sure the little guys also have a voice. If you don't have a big bag, it's going to be a fair system. So that's the grand vision of what we're building with Split. And some of the strategies beyond the roadmap include, decentralized governance that I was just talking about. Working with partners like Deloitte, I used to work at Deloitte, other big fours to become a partner with Split to integrate Split into Fortune 500 companies, right? So Deloitte, EY, Paul Brody from EY, you should hit me up, brother. I know you're doing some cool stuff in the blockchain space. These guys could use Split to offer for their clients, and their clients again get and an EY or Deloitte could charge consulting fees to implement Split at these massive retailers across the globe. This has worked really well for a CMS, a content management system called Drupal, also open source, right? A nonprofit where it's a system, but Deloitte could charge implementing it, and it's just another tool and platform for these big consulting firms to offer their clients, right? It's a power of choice that's really big. So we have a couple other things that we have in mind. These ones I can't just say just quite yet, but that gives you a little bit of an idea of what we're thinking for ShopX and Split. It's just to become the backbone of all of e-commerce. And, we want to make it so that everybody is using it, but you don't even know it's being used. That's when you know you win the game.
Yeah, exactly. You really make good use of your airtime. Hey, when you all the hail outs and you're trying to get the attention of them, I love that. But also, I know right now, I really do see Split as the next forthcoming here, right, in regards to e-commerce. But I know right now you guys, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are focusing on more of the integration aspect into these already, go-to marketplaces like Shopify's of the world and WooCommerce of the world. But I think, I truly believe the world is going to adopt to blockchain at sooner or later. Do you ever see yourself having your own marketplace?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'll say this: yes, we do have on our roadmap. What we don't want to do is to become a centralized marketplace, because if we do that and we become really big and everybody goes to our marketplace, then guess what? We're another Amazon. I don't want that to happen.
Right. Right.
So the point of keeping Split a marketplace of marketplaces that connects marketplaces together is really important, that we stay within that lane and don't get too greedy by saying, oh, let's go make our own marketplace and have everybody come buy from us and we collect everything, because then all the money is going to come to us and all the bounties are going to come to us and not everybody else. However, in order to create a healthy DeFi system for off-chain assets, and I mentioned that we're going to be creating a liquidation flash sale event, Split will have a flash sale marketplace that if these products are not repaid for the inventory loans that they've been taken out, as sales happen through the flash sale, we will then have a marketplace for buyers to come in. And if you hold ShopX tokens, you get exclusive right and access to come in and buy these products at discounted rates to liquidate, to pay back the DeFi lenders. So again, that hasn't really been stated before, but for you, Francis, I love your community, love this interview, dude. I would love to do these all the time. So I'll be back whenever.
I can see you're having a lot of fun. Before we came on air, you're a bit tired. I know you expressed you were doing things before this, but like you seem to get back your energy due to the passion, right? And we feel the passion, we see the passion, and we know you're genuine and honest, man. So I really appreciate you coming on, and I'd love to have you on more often than not. So that actually takes us to the live questions. So the first one of 3 maybe comes from Lynn O, who asks, can you talk about the fees that seller and buyer will take for every transaction? How will they be determined?
Yeah, great question. By the buyer and seller. Well, the way we built it is for them to be in control of their destiny online, right? So Split is just the protocol and the technology that enables anybody to transact online in a peer-to-peer fashion. And we created the technology and the protocol in such a way that it's transparent and fair and secure, where people will not get screwed over in these peer-to-peer transactions, because I don't know who the other person is on the other side of a transaction. So Split will facilitate that to ensure that it's all fair. However, the seller gets to determine what the bounty is. The seller gets to determine what the price is. So we have a free market, right? We're creating a perfectly competitive market for you econ nerds out there. This is something I got taught in school. All my professors. I actually go back to my alma mater at University of California, Irvine, and do talks, just kind of like Vitalik, even though I dropped out. I mean, I graduated my undergrad, but my grad dropped out of. So I do frequent back there and have talks and give back, to the community, or to my alma mater community. But yeah, man, it's in a way where the people transacting in Split are empowered to do what's best for them. And if people don't like it, then they won't transact with you, right? But you get to set your terms. And if you want to go higher or lower or tinker with that all that information is available to you on Split, and you can make data-driven decisions to make your business the way you want, and no one's going to stop you.
Love it. I was just typing in the live chat there. Y'all better not be selling your ShopX tokens. Quotations, this is not financial advice. So cool. Let's move on to the next one here from Cardozo, who asks, okay, I think he's misunderstanding on what ShopX does, but I'll let you, reply back to this nonetheless. So Cardozo, thank you for the question. What makes the protocol different from the other big marketplaces of NFT like Shopsy and Rarible? I mean, that's an easy reply there, but I'll let you do it, Cyrus.
Yeah, for sure. So OpenSea and Rarible, they are NFT marketplaces, but there are only one marketplace, meaning OpenSea works on OpenSea, Rarible works on Rarible. They have their NFTs that are within their ecosystem. What Split could do is connect Rarible and OpenSea. So you could sell OpenSea NFTs on Rarible and vice versa. Not only that, but you could sell NFTs that have been minted on OpenSea on your own Shopify store. So if you just want to build a Shopify and be like, oh, these are really cool NFTs from OpenSea, and there's a bounty attached to them, right? So this is what the power of ShopX and Split could do for OpenSea and Rarible. Having the digital art creators attach a bounty or a commission to it, and then Anybody who has a Shopify store could come in and be like, oh, that's a really cool Beeple. Let me add it to my store. If I could find a buyer, I could collect the commission for it. And this will create a bigger reach, an audience for these art sellers beyond just Rarible, beyond just, whatever. So, not whatever, OpenSea or whatever other like Nifty Gateway.
XYZ, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really bringing Web3 into Web3, because if you have a website and you're not sharing your data with anybody else, you're not Web3. Like creating a Web3 data layer that shares inventory across all platforms, that's what Split does. We are not a marketplace. We are a marketplace of marketplaces that integrates and synchronizes all marketplaces inventory with each other. So you have this decentralized e-commerce supply chain, which reduces the middleman and increases your engagement and reach as a seller to find a buyer faster.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'll surely be making a heck of a lot of tutorial videos when the time is right, when you guys roll things out, for sure. You could bet your bottom dollar on that. By the way, man, I love your background, the spiral steps there. It beats the heck out of my fake island in the back. I got a fake green screen island here. You got to take a picture of that and send it my way. I want to use that for my next lives in the green screen.
I will do, man. I will send you a picture.
Appreciate that. Okay, so last question here from Jesse Sparks. How easy will it be for sellers or buyers to put money into Split and take money out as needed? So liquidity, I believe, should be,
Yeah. So, again, as we're building this bridge for Web 2 to Web 3, we are being mindful and empathetic to people who are not, haven't been privy to blockchain or cryptocurrencies. So a couple things. We're partnering with people like Sendwire that will do fiat to crypto, e-commerce point of sale transactions. So it will then, take your fiat, convert it into crypto on a purchase. And then the crypto could be a stable coin, and then the stable coin could be dispersed back into an account to protect, buyers who are not, wanting to or understanding what like Ether or ShopX or any of these tokens and coins are. So there is that, and then once the wallet within the ShopX interface, on Shopify, I'll be able to set parameters. So we're working with a couple exchanges, and this is why I'm really excited for one of our first sexes we're going to be bringing online. I interviewed a lot, and there's all this talk about tier 1, tier 2, whatever. I really look for one that had the best technology that will be the best for our user base. So this is my vision. I go to Shopify, right? And if I need ShopX in order to mint an eNFT, and then I would tell a seller, hey, go to Binance or whatever to purchase ShopX, come back, put it in your wallet, that's dead on arrival. No one's going to do that, right? No, maybe we would, because we're nerds and we love doing this type of stuff. But the average user that uses Shopify is not going to go to Binance, make an account, buy Bitcoin or buy ShopX, and then send it over. That's a lot of friction for a seller. So what we want to do is within the Shopify UI, I could create an account, on this centralized exchange, and within that we have these API calls that we could build. Within that, I could say, hey, if I want to do something within the Split network, right, and it requires ShopX, I am going to approve you to go purchase ShopX, put in an order for me in the exchange, and send it to the wallet, to my wallet in Shopify automatically. So super frictionless. So if you don't have enough ShopX as a user, you make an account one time, you still have to go through your KYC through the exchange and all that kind of good stuff. However, after that, you're completely kosher. Like you need ShopX, it will automatically go make purchases for you, and you can set a limit so you don't overdo it, right? So like one day you don't come in and say like, oh my God, I bought a lot of ShopX. But this is for as a needed basis as you're using the Split network and the Split client. Whenever ShopX is needed and you don't have enough, it will acquire ShopX tokens on your behalf. And on the flip side, if you ever get to a high of a balance of ShopX and you don't want to hold that many ShopX, you could also create a sell order directly through the Shopify UI. So you could create this like threshold of like high and low to keep your ShopX tokens within the ecosystem to a nice equilibrium and balance of what a seller needs. right? So there is the ability to do this all asynchronously and automatically, so you don't have that friction. And on top of that, if you don't want to do it that way and you're OG and you want to like, be in control of it, you could just control it yourself. So again, choice, really important. Empowering the user to be able to, buy or sell ShopX automatically through a system and service that we provide, or if they want to do it themselves, they're more entitled to do it that way. And then working with providers like Wire to be able to do that fiat to crypto on-ramp, off-ramp, makes this a slam dunk, e-commerce transition for all these sellers and brands out there.
Absolutely. Any entrepreneur in his right mind knows this, right? When it comes to users or clients or whatever, customers, you don't want to confuse them. You want the process to be seamless and, frictionless, like you just alluded to, right? And again, it goes back to what I said. You guys thought things through. And especially when it's newbies, so to speak, coming into this whole blockchain space, whether that's using Split or whatnot. I was just trying to teach my sister and my mother how to use MetaMask 2 weeks ago, and it was a headache, right? So imagine teaching newbies how to use Split while having already a Shopify store and such. So, great thinking on your team's behalf and yourself, man. Really, really, really enjoyed this interview. Really love what I hear about ShopX and Split. Cyrus, that does conclude the interview. I don't know if you have any other, final remarks you want to tell the audience. Now is your chance, maybe your Twitter handle or Telegram or anything, website, anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'll say that if you want to learn more about it, I'm Cyrus Kind across all platforms, CYRUSKIND. You can find me on Twitter, Telegram, or whatever. And then Split Core, SPLYT CORE, Twitter, Telegram, whatever. We're all Split Core across all handles. So, please be sure to follow us or message me. I try to get back to everybody. I like community. It's really important to me. And I'm just going to have to say, while we're going through this bull run and we're doing everything crypto, let's not forget to be kind and empathetic to others. That's what this is all about. It's about, building a better life for everybody, right? It's not about how many Satoshis you have or dollars or whatever. It's about, we could have those profits for sure, but don't forget about your purpose in life, right? Really, really tap into what really matters to you, what gives you enjoyment and fulfillment. And if you stick in that lane, all those profits will come, but you'll live a more fulfilling life. And then that relationship that you could build with the people that matter, that you can't put a price on that. So, just do something nice to somebody today, or say something nice, or practice a gratitude statement. What are you grateful for today? Ask yourself that question. And if you do that on a day in, day out basis, you'll start to manifest some pretty awesome things in your life. So, hope to see everybody on that other side of manifestation, where we could start building the worlds where we all love to participate in and live in a world of abundance rather than scarcity.
Exactly. No, I'm all for that, man. Thank you once again, Cyrus. Before I let you go, Cyrus, I need to ask you one last question.
What's up, man?
I'm full of tricks. What lifestyle are you living, Cyrus? Don't let us down now over here. What lifestyle are you living, man?
I'm living the lifestyle of my dreams. Like,
no, you're living the crypto lifestyle. There we go. No, I didn't. Yeah, no, that's all fine. No, I always just throw the curveball at the end just to get the genuine reaction, right? The natural reaction. But it's all good, man. Hey, look, Cyrus, I love your project. I love your team. I love what you guys are building here. And I most certainly would support you guys. If you need anything from me, hit me up on Telegram. My community as well. They're all behind you guys too. So let's make it happen. With that being said, I'm going to just end this interview with my conclusion. Split has a good shot of becoming the decentralized Amazon, creating opportunities while in the process, making entrepreneurs achieve their true potential. As you all know already, I'm a huge decentralized advocate, and I believe a decentralized e-commerce ecosystem that is regulated by internal mechanisms of the system and governed by consensus is the next forthcoming. This will automate, streamline, and protect integrity in the process, empowering small brands and markets while creating a fair, powerful, and prosperous e-commerce ecosystem. And I'm all for that. And if you support these same morals and principles, I highly recommend you head on over to Split's website to learn more. You can bet your bottom Satoshi I will be paying very close attention to their developments in the weeks and in the months to come. So you know what? There really isn't much left to say other than, till the next video or livestream interview, you're on your own. Later.